Hey guys, my name is Nibiri and it's time for a change. It's not time for a Saint Saturday or a kicking of the week, it's just time that we'll make a lead for our track. So I've been doing some work on the track and I asked you guys what you wanted to hear first. So today we're going to be working on the leads, but I also created the kick already and just made a little bit of an intro concept. And I just adjusted the screech a little bit. I just want to show you what I did, and after that we're going to dive into these leads.
I don't want to fit in. I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be someone else. I create my own reality. I create my own reality.
So let's just dive straight into silent 1 and start working on the top lead. And I just want to make something really screamy for the top lead and really moving with the LFOs. But also for the lead as a whole, I just want to make it really filthy and detuned and maybe somehow add some layers that are really off key and just a little bit more creative. Because the melody is quite simple, I want to try to make a lead that really stands out. But let's just first make the top lead. So as I already said, I just have a little bit of an idea in mind for the top lead. I just need it to be screamy and really moving with the LFO. And well, with that mindset, I'm just going to dive into silent and just try to make it as moving as possible and just try to get a nice lead. A little bit of this preparation beforehand just really helps you create more leads faster because you know what you want to do inside of your VST, even if you don't use silent. Just having an idea or a goal in mind is just really helpful. I think I'm gonna keep this layer quite basic, just because I wanna make the rest of the leads really filthy. I just feel like something a little bit more stable will help. And yeah, I'm just playing around a little bit with these LFOs, trying out some different settings to just see which kind of setting just helps with this type of lead. And I feel that this sounds alright right now, so let's just add another layer. And for the next layer, I'm going to use Viper, and I'm just going to make a hypersaw layer that supports our top lead and already just introduce a little bit of detuning so that our other leads, which are going to be more detuned, kind of glue together to this. So let's just put our voices or the balance to one of the two oscillators, and let's just put a hypersaw in here. And when I put a hypersaw or a multisaw in here, the first thing I do is just put the detune to the right amount and then add some voices. And when I feel that I have this right sound for this first oscillator, I'd like to switch it to the other oscillator, and then we're going to do the same, but we're just listening to the separate oscillators and try to make some separate nice hypersaws. And yeah, then we're going to mix them together by using this oscillator balance knob. And I really feel that the hypersaw like this will already work. It's quite detuned, but like I said, I think that's going to work with the other layers. And well, let's just put an EQ on this and an EQ on the top lead. And yeah, that way we're sure of what type of space we have left besides the frequencies that the leads really use. Basically, I like to put an EQ on each layer after I made it so that I'm sure which type of space I still have left. And I'm already hearing that the top lead can use a little bit more LFO right now. So let's just get back into silent and just adjust these settings a little bit, make it a little bit more moving and a little bit more screamy. And then I think these two layers will just work together properly. And the next lead I want to add right now is just a high hypersaw lead. I really feel that the lead right now just needs this, as it will just give some more energy, as these high hypersaw layers always do. If you feel that your top lead and your second lead really need some extra energy, I just suggest you try adding a high hypersaw layer like I'm gonna make right now, because 9 out of 10 times it will just give it some more energy. And you can make these high hypersaw leads with only one of the 4 oscillators in silent with 1 octave up, or you can put both of the oscillators an octave up. And right now I just tried it with only one, but I feel we need more, so I'm gonna put the second oscillator in the A side up 1 octave as well, as this will just make the higher octave a little bit more prominent. And it's at moments like this when your high hypersaw lead just sounds a little bit dull. It sounds too clean, but when you try to add more detune to make it more detuned, it's just gonna sound too dirty. And at this moment I suggest you just add an LFO and just try to make it move a lot more with just a fast rate and just a little bit of gain. And that way you can make a lot more movement inside of this high hypersaw, and it's just gonna sound a lot more dirty. And I just really like to put this first LFO on something else than a sine wave, and then put that second LFO on a sine wave, just because it sounds a little bit more moving, because it's 2 LFOs of course, but you can just try and see what works the best for you. And now that we're done inside silent, I just put an EQ on this sound, and let's just put a low cut on this and just add some more highs and just make it sound right. So I just put these 3 layers to a bus, and I add this EQ on here to just add a little bit of highs to the full 3 leads. And what I like to do right now is put an OTT on here or a Fabfilter Saturn and just make it a little bit more loud. And after that, we're gonna go back into some plugins and try to make it dirty, because right now it's just still too clean. And in the meantime, I already added this pitchbend automation just because it helps make the melody sound how I really envision it. And well, this is how it sounds right now with these pitchbend slides. So now we added that pitchbend automation, we're just gonna dive straight back into silent and try to make that really dirty detuned lead. And because it's really gonna be dirty and detuned, I just took away these lower notes over here, because in the lower spectrum it's just gonna sound way too messy with a too detuned lead. And right now it sounds quite crisp, and I just wanna have that stay as it is. And yeah, I'm just thinking about maybe putting the detune all the way to the max and just try something creative in this silent. It's just going to be a hypersaw lead layer, but I just want to see and do something else. I just want to try something creative. And now I have that layer, I just want to try and make its own automation for the pitch bend. Maybe by putting it at the wrong tone, just intentionally, it's gonna make it sound just a lot more dirty on certain types of notes. And I just want to play around a little bit with this and just see if it makes something unique. And now that I played around with this for way too long, it looks something like this, and I feel that this just adds some spice to different types of notes. And now let's just add one more layer that I have in mind that's going to be really high and really detuned, and after that we're going to do the chords. For this final lead I want to try and use Viper just for that unison, so that it really sounds wide and we can put it high and detuned, and yeah, really just put it at the sides of this lead. And after that we can add some chords which are maybe gonna be a lot cleaner, so they really give power to the lead and size, but don't really detune that much. And again, just a little bit of an LFO is really going to help make that extra movement, that's make it sound a lot more dirty, but not just too detuned. Now let's just put an EQ on this and see if this really helps with the rest of the leads. So I've just been playing around a little bit with the volume of the leads, and I just put that high layer just a little bit louder so that it sounds more prominent, and I just added the automation from our first three layers, the clean pitch bend automation on top of that higher layer as well, so that it just follows the pitch bend automation of the clean layers. And right now I just want to try and put some reverb on that highest layer, so that it's really gonna be on the sides, and after that let's just create some chords. And for this reverb, I'm just really envisioning a small, really small room, which is barely going to be audible, but is really just going to put this to the sides of the top leads. I think something like this will work. And now let's start creating chords, and with the first layer being in Serum, and after that we're probably gonna add a viper and a silent layer to just accompany that. And well, I'm not thinking of making this too detuned, it should just glue with the rest, but since the top leads and the rest of the leads are really detuned already, I don't want to make it too much with the chords. And the chords as well are just gonna follow the first automation of the pitchbend that we created. So they are just gonna stay clean together with that top lead section. And now that next chord layer is going to be in Viper, like I said, and we're just going to make this a little bit higher. So we're going to raise one of these two oscillators 1 octave up. Just going to use the unison to create a nice and big sound, and just add a little bit of LFO to just make it move a little bit. And of course, again, these chords are just going to follow that first automation pitch bend. And yeah, I feel that this layer already just really works with the other chord layer already, at least. And let's just check it if it sounds well with the rest of the top leads as well. And for this silent layer, for these chords, I'm just gonna put one layer lower of these notes at least. And yeah, this is gonna be the warm layer. So this layer is just gonna be there to just put some more body in this whole lead and not sound too detuned as well. Just because of these lower notes, we want to kind of keep it a little bit clean so that it doesn't sound too detuned around these notes, so that they're just gonna sound clean. So we just need to raise the polyphony to higher than 3 voices so that it can play at least more than 3 notes. And right now we can just create this sound, and we're not gonna make this too dirty. So I'm probably just gonna stay around 4 to 5 voices, maybe even one with only 1 voice, and just play around a little bit with some different oscillators or wavetables to just, yeah, kind of get a different type of sound that's just gonna sound warm. Something like this could even be done already. Like, this is just a really basic lead that's just gonna sound clean and just add some of that mid warmth that the lead really needs. But just adding a little bit of LFO, of course, makes it sound just a little bit more interesting and more moving. And since the whole lead is moving, we kind of might need that LFO movement. And right now we can just put an EQ on this, and we can see if this really fits with the rest of the leads. And of course, we still need to add this to the first automation envelope from the normal lead stack. And let's just put that on there. And now we can really listen if this really fits. So I've just done some final things off screen. I added a reverb, I added the bass, and what I basically did to the lead was just pulling the chords down a little bit lower, especially the Serum and the warm chords, because they were just a little bit too much, and I raised a little bit of that top lead. And at the end, I just made sure that everything was just in balance with the rest of the track. So let's just listen to this final transition and then the melody.
I don't want to fit in. I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be someone else. I create my own reality.
Now, hopefully you like this as much as I do, and if you have any questions, just make sure to drop them down below in the comments and I'll make sure to answer all of them. And well, hopefully you like this and learned something from this, and hopefully I'll see you back soon again. Cheers!